Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. Fight fans worldwide, you've tuned into the number one undisputed boxing podcast today. This is the Boxing Breakdown. Now, your heavy-handed, hard-hitting host, Mark Roxey.
What's up? This is your host, Mark Roxey, and welcome to another edition of the Boxing Breakdown. It is good to see everybody. Welcome today, and thank you for tuning in. If you are watching us on YouTube, thank you for being with us. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also the notification so you know when we're coming live to you. We are pumped up again, as always, every week with the amazing show that we're going to put together. We're going to talk a lot about boxing, and we want to include you in on the conversation. So today we are going to be talking a little boxing news at the beginning of the show. We will get into the Usyk versus Joshua upcoming fight on August 20th. We will then go and talk a little bit about Teofimo Lopez and really like what's next for him, what comes up, what's coming up down the road after his recent victory win, which we will talk about. And then we'll get into the conversation about Demetrius Bivol. Did he expose a weakness in Canelo Alvarez's game? I think that's really important ahead of the big Triple G versus Canelo fight that's coming up in September. So we're going to chop that up a little bit. And then we'll close out the show with the bad news, a little bad news. Adrian Broner will not be entering into the ring. So we're going to chop up that and talk a little bit about why the fight is canceled. And so listen, guys, without further ado, man, I would like to bring in my partner in crime, Mr. Harold Hunt, man. What's up, Harold?
Hey, what's up, man?
Good.
How you doing?
How am I doing? I mean, did you hear the intro? What do you mean, how am I doing? You know how I'm doing, bro. I'm pumped up. I'm always pumped up to get together with you. I'm always excited to be on the Boxing Breakdown podcast with you and, you know, doing what we do. So come on.
I know you was actually in tune with the music. I thought you was going to just be all out of tune, but you came in okay. Your background work was good. It's all right. I got you.
You thought, I thought I sounded like a cat scratching on the window, to be honest. But you know what? Hey, listen, who cares, right? What are you going to do? Right, here we are. So anyway, Harold, man, tell me what you got. I know you got a lot of stuff you want to talk about. Let's just break down some of the more recent boxing news outside of the agenda that we have for today. What you got?
Okay. Spence Crawford. The world is waiting.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
It just may not happen until next year.
What are you talking about?
I'll tell you.
What are you talking about? What do you mean it's not going to happen?
I'll tell you why. It may not be signed until then. It may not actually happen in the ring. This is because Deontay Wilder has a date. He can draw. The market cannot sustain two big fights. You're either going to choose that one or you're going to choose Spence. Deontay Wilder's is already on the books. It's already going to happen.
Man.
You just can't drag the boxing public pocket like that. So, because of that, financially, that fight shouldn't be made. They may fight anyway, just because whatever, but the money people, they know they're going to have to hold it off to get the full market.
Right.
And that's because Wilder has made his date and is locked down. And to see him, you're going to pay.
Man, are you serious?
Absolutely. It's financial.
I cannot believe that. Listen, I'm bummed out about that because, to be real honest with you, in the last podcast, if you hadn't listened to the last podcast, listen, man, I was so excited. I was living into the future of that fight. I really, really was.
There's ramifications though. There's ramifications.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, tell me.
I got to finish with it. All right. Spence will be off over a year and Crawford will be off 16 months. But they can't afford to fight anybody else in the middle.
Right.
They got to let the market come up, but they're both going to be out of camp. Now, they're in camp right now.
Man.
Financially, they're either going to move it or they're going to fight anyway.
Right.
But the dollars will be light. A lot light.
Really?
Especially for a fight of this magnitude. There has to be nothing else on the horizon that can rival it financially for the boxing public or the national public or the world public. Everybody got to pay pay-per-view. There can't be no soccer. There can't be no track. There can't be
football,
nothing out there.
Right. Well, that's going to be virtually, with the landscape, just the boxing landscape, soccer landscape, football landscape, all the landscapes that are out there. I don't think you're going to be able to find a weekend where that's the case. And here we go again, right? This is the major fight. It needs to happen. And, now you're telling me that it's not going to happen because of, again, just more excuses. Like I can't believe
shot out here.
Oh man, I'm brokenhearted, bro. I really am. Seriously, anyway, all right. So that being said, what else you got for me? I know you got other stuff. Listen, guys, Harold always comes to the program like we got this agenda, and Harold's got like 20 other things he wants to chop up. And I'm like, okay, let's go. Hit it. Give me something else, Harold.
Ooh, and I'm holding that one. Let's go with the agenda here.
Okay, you want to get into Usyk. Let's go into Usyk and Joshua. First of all, Usyk and Joshua, this fight is a big, big fight, especially overseas. This is a huge event. It's happening live on DAZN on August 20th. It's available globally. You can get it anywhere around the world. This is a make or break fight for Anthony Joshua. I'm not saying it's a make or break fight for Usyk as well, but it's definite. Like Joshua has way more to lose again than Usyk, and I don't know what you're feeling about this fight, Harold.
Joshua could get knocked out.
Whoa.
His change of attitude,
shots fired,
rushing
baby.
in, trying to be the bigger man, out of his character,
right?
It's going to leave him open to get hit.
Right.
He's been taught, I got to bully. So he's going to try to bully. When you attack, you leave yourself open. Usyk is a sharp puncher.
Yeah, but
he could get knocked out. Now, he may not get knocked out, drop, count 10, but he'll get hit a lot.
Right.
All depends on who the referee is, what's going on, how they want to do it. But he's opened himself up to even be hit more because everyone says you're acting unbullyish, so you must bully.
Oh my God!
So that's how I see it.
Well, Usyk
come rushing in there. He may not get knocked out, but he's going to lose. He's going to get hit a lot sharper than he did the first fight.
Yo, man, Joshua's got a lot. I don't understand. Joshua's so much bigger than Usyk, but the problem is he's so muscle bound. He can't get those elbows tucked up in there, and his punches, like you said, are really, really wide. I don't know how he's going to fare against a faster puncher, just a faster, better. He's got better footwork. I did see some video footage and clippage of Anthony Joshua working the pads and doing some things. And I saw him doing some little, half steps back. He was yo-yoing a little bit. So he was working some of his basic skills, but I still just I'm not so convinced that he's going to have what it takes to be able to deal with the faster, quicker Usyk, I just don't see it. And this fight is I guess it's called Rage of the Seas, the Red Seas, or something like that, right?
Well, the propaganda is cute and whatever, but the point is this: Mark, you a trainer. You can look good on the video clips, and you learn this and learn that and all that. But in the fight, it's going to be exactly the way it was before. He's going to be stepping in there because he's been beat up mentally to go step in there. All the boxing and yo-yo work and all that kind of stuff, maybe it'll appear a round or two. But when they get to fighting, it's going to go back to where it was. The only change is his attitude. And his attitude is going to get him hit.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, they're going to do big numbers because this fight is taking place on a Saturday. It's taking place at the King Abdullah Sports City Arena on Saturday, August 20th. So, I'm sure if you're interested in heavyweight boxing, man, you're going to want to tune into this one. But, Harold, honestly, I just don't see how Joshua makes it work. I mean, I'd like to see him do better, but, it's not. I mean, did you check out the press conference for this upcoming fight?
It's pretty generic to me.
Yeah,
I'm not necessarily. I mean, it's fine. I love the way Joshua's diction is just on point. That English grammar background is nice, whatever. And then you've got the backdrop of this other guy who's countries in war and this and that. So all of that is really palatable. But in the ring, it's in the ring. So yes, it's going to sell well, or perhaps it's going to be enthralled and all that. But if you want to go to the pure part,
right?
I know what's going to happen right there in that box. I tell you that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you think this is a case of either man actually showing improvement from the last fight? Or do you think it's just because, you said that at the top of the show. Do you think it's just kind of a repeat of what they've already done? Or do you think that there's going to be some improvement with Joshua having a new trainer, right? He's got a new trainer now, right?
Yes.
And Usyk, bringing more skills to the table for this fight that he didn't have in the last fight. What do you think? Break that down for me.
Okay, as far as Usyk is concerned, he's going to be on top of what he does. He's a counter puncher. He already knows mentally that he's hurt Joshua. Right. And he's had thoughts of, well, if I push a little more, maybe I can get him out of this. So he's got that going for him. And then you got to look at the overall mindset of just what's going on in his life with the war and all that kind of stuff. So when you have that attitude where, I have to succeed or not succeed, and if that means, my demise, I will do that. So he's going to take that attitude that his country has into this. But yet he's going to be really sharp. He's going to have that, and he's going to be in shape, and he knows that he's going to have opportunity to be a sharpshooter. Now, as far as Joshua's concerned,
right?
Yes. I already said this earlier, but I kind of do go with it a little differently. Yes, he's got the training. Yes, he feels like he needs to do this, and yes, a lot of things are going to look a little different earlier. But as we get into the fight, he's going to regress to where he was. And he's going to attack. So he may be in a little better shape as far as his win is concerned, that type of thing. But what we're going to see, I feel, is a sharper image of the beatdown from the first one. It'll be more pronounced. It'll be cleaner. There'll be more video bites. There'll be more. It's just going to be a lot more to see as far as clean punching and that type of thing.
Well, Harold, interestingly enough, right? Usyk is 19-0. Anthony Joshua is 24-2. Usyk's 35, so he's a little bit older. Not much. I don't think it's really material, but Anthony Joshua is 32 years old, right? So Usyk's a southpaw. He's fighting against the orthodox fighter who is taller. He's 6'6", and Usyk is only 6'3". So he's kind of a smaller heavyweight, although 6'3" is pretty darn big if you stand next to him. And Usyk has a 78-inch arm reach versus Anthony Joshua's 82. So when you break that down, I mean, on paper, it really does look like Joshua's got the advantage, with the exception of the southpaw. And maybe this being a southpaw isn't so much of an advantage for Anthony Joshua, and that's going to really be determined based on how many southpaws he's actually faced. Sometimes it's a big deal, but sometimes it's really not. There's not much to being a southpaw. Some fighters are really good at just breaking down southpaws. But, again, Usyk in his last 5 fights, let's look at his last 5 fights. He fought Murat Gassiev, right? I got a UD on him. He fought Tony Bellew. He TKO'd him. I think he stopped Chaz Witherspoon. Unanimous decision against Derek Chisora. And then Anthony Joshua, unanimous decision. So now here he goes again. Now, as far as Anthony Joshua's faced, you guys remember these fights. I remember all these fights. He fought Joseph Parker, followed by Alexander Povetkin. Next up, Andy Ruiz. He fought him twice. He TKO'd Andy Ruiz in the first fight, and then he got a unanimous decision. Actually, he was stopped in the first fight, and then he got a unanimous decision the second time in his second outing. That's something to pay attention to. That's something to pay attention to, folks, because Anthony Joshua, he got stopped by Andy Ruiz, which is very similar to Alexander Usyk in terms of size and speed and footwork, right? And then he came back and he figured out a way to beat him, right? And then he comes back and he gets Kubrat Pulyev. He gets him he KOs him. And then he fights Alexander Usyk for UD. And now here he goes again, just like he did with Anthony Joshua. So, think what you want to think about that, but pay attention to what I just said, because there may be some fruit. If you're a betting person and you plan on betting on this fight, the odds are probably going to be, you're going to do better if you bet for Joshua probably than Usyk. What do you think, Harold, about what I just said?
Well, that's where we're different, because I don't bet at all. I don't have that philosophy or anything in my brain that does that. So yeah, from my side, yes, he fought Ruiz again, but Ruiz had enjoyed his money and his fame and his food, so he was not the same Ruiz.
Right.
Simple. All right. So yes, he beat him. Yes, he sailed the outside. Yes, it was the safest fight in the world. Yes, you could put your baby in there and it wouldn't even be bumped.
Right.
That's what happened in that fight. So yes, he took that back. Okay. He had a knockdown drag out with the next guy, but that was a good fight. And he won his other fight, then the fight with Usyk. Okay. Usyk presented the same kind of problems that Andy did in a sense. Yeah. Well, let me go back. As he got knocked out, he was attacking. When Pacquiao attacked Marquez, he got knocked out. He was attacking. When you're attacking and you get knocked out, hey, that's great. Not great, but you were aggressive and you went out there and you did that. So I can't fault him for that. So when he came back and won the fight, he just wasn't in that position to get knocked out, and he made sure he won the fight. With this guy here, he feels like he can't be knocked out, but it's just too sharp for him.
Right.
So he's going to try to step in there. And I just see that, it's going to be a lot more pronounced punching and a lot more. So yes, he did win his fights, and there's some fruit there, but there's so many variables that cause him to have those. And I'm not coming down on the guy, but I'm just saying on his career, what he's done, but there's so many variables that allowed him to be successful with those guys. So this time he may actually be able to bully him. Now, as far as the reach is concerned, that means nothing. If you're in the pocket and I can hit you and you can hit me, my reach doesn't mean nothing unless I'm working on the outside. But if I'm in the pocket where he's going to be with this guy, it doesn't really matter. So, the reach looks good and the height and all that. But if I'm in the pocket, it doesn't matter what my reach is if I'm not working from the outside, as I said earlier. So to me, I just see an opportunity for him to maybe rectify himself, but I don't really see it. I just can't see it right now. I mean, unless he overpowers him. We got to look at who the referee is going to be.
Well, I was just,
allow that kind of work.
I was just going to ask you, have they decided I haven't seen anything come across the wire that tells me that they decided who the referee is going to be, but that's going to be also another, big factor in this fight.
Always.
Yeah. But you don't know who that's going to be, do you, Harold?
No, nothing's come across my.
If any of you out there listening in knows the answer to who if they've picked the referee, please just leave it in the comments, or down below. You can, if you're on YouTube, you can certainly comment below, and we'll post your comments online. But yeah, I mean, I don't know the answer.
That's long away. I'm with the commission. What they do is not the very end, they decide. Mark, you know this.
Yeah.
At the end, because you've approved referees at the last minute. You do it all the time. That's your profession.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, you know how it works. They kind of do it at the end. So there's not going to be any kind of speculation or anything out here this early. It's just not. It's going to be what 3-4 days, something like that.
Yeah. They may know. They may have already contracted, have the flights booked and everything like that, but they won't let anyone know that they know who the referee is going to be until the day of the fight. It could be that nobody knows until the day of the fight. The refs show up.
Yes.
This fight is taking place in I think it's somewhere in the Middle East, right? This fight is taking place in what is that?
It's going to be a great crowd.
Saudi Arabia, bro. It's in Saudi Arabia. That's right. And so in that way, I mean, I don't know what the commission I don't know what the commission is in Saudi Arabia, and why do they want the fight in Saudi Arabia? Is it because it's cheap? It's probably because it's cheap.
Well, so they have their own rules of how they're going to handle it, but they've handled so many major title fights.
Right.
They're going to be in line with, the sanctioning bodies, so if they can, they're highly successful. So everyone has a different procedure on how they apply the referees and the gloves and all that at the end. You know how that goes. So, but, it's going to be lucrative, to say the least.
Oh, you bet your bottom dollar. Bong, no pun intended. Right? He's going to be very lucrative heavyweight,
the big boys.
Yeah, it's heavyweights, these guys.
Big boy.
Well, yeah, but the heavyweights just have a different kind of cachet. There's just a different kind of panache, There's a different role when you got the heavyweights than the little guys. So, I mean, there's no, we love the little guys, but there's just something, people really come out when the heavyweights sign up to, when they contract up. So,
because when they fall hard.
Oh man, yeah. This one's gonna be. I'm sure this one's gonna be eventful because they know each other. They've been in the ring with each other. Joshua has a very good track record of rectifying losses. That's all I'm saying. I don't think I could say the same thing for Alexander Usyk, because he's never been there before. He doesn't have a loss. So he doesn't know he hasn't, Joshua's been there twice. He's lost twice. So he's not, let's just say this, be careful, because sometimes when you've got nothing to lose, those are the guys you better watch out for, Harold. Just saying that. I'm putting it out there for everybody to listen. I'm just putting it out there, being devil's advocate. I already know, if I was going to ask you who you thought was going to win, who do you think is going to win, Harold? Come on, tell the fans, tell everybody on the Boxing Breakdown who you think is going to win this fight. Because, I mean, everybody knows already, but, we just want to hear you say it.
Well, I'm going to dance.
Come on. So, you think Usyk's going to take it?
Usyk can win the fight by, being sharp as he was before and take advantage of the situation, of the extra aggressiveness.
Yeah.
Joshua can win if he cuts off the ring. He crowds that left-handed fighter.
Right.
He uses the southpaw killer.
Yeah.
Right hand, lead right hand, right hook. And for whatever reason, if Usyk is not mobile that evening because of some body work that's causing his legs not to be there, he can definitely get him in a situation where taking some of those punches, he can overwhelm him and win the fight and knock him out. So,
Right.
that is a great opportunity for him. And Usyk has his also. So I've danced.
Yeah, man, I get that. So let's I want to switch gears with you, Harold, if that's okay, man. I want to get into the big hubbubaloo of this weekend was Teofimo Lopez and Campos. He that was a great fight. Did you get a chance to see that fight?
Yes, I was able to check that out to see what he did and all of that. So I got a few little points on that. I thought it was okay.
Right. Campa, Campa did a good, he's a good fighter. I just think that he wasn't at that level, the Teofimo level. Break it down for me, Harold.
Well, Lopez had a great opportunity. He needed to get his star power back. He needed to be seen. He needed to kind of vent on his situation. All the run-up stuff was pretty good.
Right.
So what he had in the ring was an opportunity to be in with a man who could take his punch, allow him to show his speed and power,
right.
But he definitely had to take him out. So what I saw is a reproduction of Floyd in the pretty boy Floyd,
right.
in the shoulder roll work with the sneaky right hand.
Yeah.
Now, that itself was, he really used that a lot in this fight. And he's used it a lot in his past fights, but this time he really used the pull counter.
Yeah.
And he did really well with it. And it just kind of reminded me in the shell of how Floyd used to do it. So he was effective with it. It worked well. He was able to put the power on the guy.
Yeah.
He moved well. I just thought he did everything he needed to do. His theatrics after the fight was good. I mean, he delivered everything he needed to deliver. For the purists, we got to see he still got the footwork. He's still fast. He's still smart. And he was very smart in this fight. So we're happy with that. The casual people just like to see him knock out. He was able to knock someone out.
Yeah, I felt he was a little bit inaccurate with his punching, though. I wasn't 100%. I mean, I've seen him more accurate. I've seen his punches land cleaner, and he be more precise. I don't know if it was that. There was a little bit of, there were jitters that I haven't seen in previous fights that I noticed, and I think that when he was creating wonderful angles, but I don't think that he was as accurate with his punching as he normally is. And so from that standpoint, I definitely could see that he needs to work on that, and there needs to be some improvement there for him. In terms of accuracy, because as he goes, like when he goes up against Loma or something like that, which I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if you heard about Loma, the fact Lomachenko just landed in LA and he's up there. I guess he's going to be meeting with I don't know who he's meeting with, but he's meeting with some people. Let me not say too much, but I'm wondering if they're going to try to make this fight again. Lopez and Teofimo. So, let's see what happens. Let's see what comes down the pike. But, what do you think is next for Teofimo Lopez?
Well, he was given a soft touch, was he needed. And if he was not as sharp as he needed to be, I can understand that, because you would see that before us. So he needed to work off a little bit. To me, he wasn't unsharp.
Yeah.
But you say he wasn't. So that's cool. I get that. Your discipline is different than mine. Mm. But he was able to show what we need to see from him on our standpoint.
Yeah.
But he was given a soft touch. He had to knock the guy out. And the guy was bigger.
Right.
So going forward, as you say, as he sharpens up, he'll be formidable. I think this was a perfect opportunity to put his toe in the water, and he got some work out of it, and he was He was okay, man. He was okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was okay. And the guy he fought was a good guy, good skills. Wasn't a walkover.
Right.
He'll beat 85% of the other fighters in that weight class. So
right. I love
good work.
I love the takeover is back. It's more like the take back. I think that's his new slogan is the take back. So just him using the slogan the take back. What do you think he's trying to take back? Where's he going?
Well, he says he just wants to take back his 4 belts, and he wants to take them back at another weight class. Right. So that's fine. I mean, his entire approach on this, and the narrative that he's putting out there is good. It's great. Hey, I like it. Take back.
Yeah,
I get it. I like it. Let me see some more of it.
I like it. I love it. I want more of it. That's what you're saying, right? That's my boy Dwayne.
He's a personality that we need, man. He is, and he backs it up with a little bit of pizzazz on that. So, the father's going on, all that. That's a beautiful thing. Hey, and Bud Light got a lot to play that night.
Oh, did you see that?
They must have signed them boys for about $2 million to wear all that gear.
Yeah,
so
they got paid.
Bud Light in the refrigerator. You feel me?
Yeah, I saw the commercial. I thought it was really well done. It was perfectly timed. Well done. And the question though, the question that I have is, where does Teofimo Lopez go from here?
He has to create his way in line. Now, financially, he can sell tickets. So they're going to look around and see whatever, how, because he's a draw. There's no doubt about that. So they got to test that pay-per-view thing again and see if he still got a little work with that. But he'll be a good matchup for any of those guys. It'll be a good financial matchup, and it'll be a good. And he's already lost one time. So it's not going to, the shock of the one loss is not going to be all dramatic. Yep. So he can get in there and the possibilities of winning or losing are palatable. It's not going to be a world shock if he loses again, but if he continues to win, it's still going to be good. So he's in a good position. I mean, I like what he's doing. He's still young enough to do what he has to do, and I saw some improvement as far as I'm concerned. Well, coming back, and the entire narrative is good. He looks good. He got this thing going on with the kid and the mother and all that. All that seems to be either well hidden or resolved. I don't know, but he looked good to me.
Yeah, man. No, I think you're right. I think there's a lot of maturity. A lot of things have changed, transformed for Teofimo Lopez. I think big things are coming down the road for him for sure. I took note earlier today that the WBC and the WBA are both vacant. Yeah, did you take note of that?
Yes. Oh, and by the way, Lomachenko made a fight. He's fighting another gentleman who's training in Las Vegas.
Right.
So that was just made today or yesterday or something like that. So he is fighting.
But he's fighting at 35. He's fighting at 35, right?
Right. So, but he's going to fight. So we have to see how that's going to work out. If they're going to do a catch weight and all that, I don't know. I don't think they're going to do all that, but that's a possibility. Or someone moves up or moves back down. Yeah. But your question was
vacant belts.
Vacant belts, yes. Hey, that's because they're available there. The sanctioning body will position themselves so they can take advantage of the new box office person in their division because he can sell. So they got to match him up properly, drop one of their belts on him, and boom, you got a financial thing moving on. If he wins, he got to defend it. They got to unify it and all that kind of stuff. So let's get that belt on him, one of them belts on him as quick as possible. Yeah. So we can position ourselves. As far as he's concerned, he gets a chance to see if he can really go out and beat these boys.
He's going for the WBC. He got to go for the WBC first because he's ranked number 5. He's ranked number 5. You know who's behind him?
Who?
Ryan Garcia is right behind him in number 6. So I'm surprised at that. But Ryan Garcia, it's setting up Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez at 140, interestingly enough. And Jose Ramirez is number 4. Gary Antoine Russell is number 3. Regis Progress is number 2. And then, of course, Jose Zapata is number 1. So there's going to be some fighting going on here for the WBC belt, for sure. I mean, I can't really...
They've got a lot to lay out to us, man. They got a lot of courses they can give out to us. The appetizer and the salad and the entree. Right. They got a lot because they can pair all those guys up and just feed us a plate at a time for another 2 years between them 3 years.
Yeah.
And that's on a quick pace where Ryan fights this guy and that guy, and then Lopez fights this guy and that guy.
Right.
And so hey, it's going to be a nice division coming up this next year or so.
Yeah,
like you said, a lot of nice matchups.
Yeah, for sure. It's shaping up pretty good there at the 140 division. And, Teofimo Lopez is an official junior welterweight now. And, things are going to really pop off at that 140. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the other bigger names are going to fly up into the 140 to try to grab one of those belts as well. But in the meantime, Teofimo Lopez does not look like he has a shortage of fresh meat to go after if he really wants to be the take-back king, right? If he wants to get those belts. And, him. What do you think about Teofimo Lopez against Josh Taylor? What do you think about that fight?
Well, he's calling him out because he feels like I can go over there and beat him, and then my cachet will really rise, and I'll have a better chance at possibly getting a belt sooner,
right?
Than I necessarily would. It'll be acceptable. It'll be more acceptable because just because he comes to the division and he gets a belt, people are going to have a different opinion on that. But if he goes over there and beat that boy, then his cachet it'll be more acceptable if he gets not rewarded, but he gets to fight for a belt,
right?
Sooner, just getting to the division. So and that's what we called out. So we got to see what kind of legs that call out has any legs if it's going to be pay attention to.
Right. Well, it's interesting. I mean, the way this is shaping up, fans are in for a treat for that, for sure. So Harold, let's take a little jump over and let's see what we got next on our agenda. Let's pull that agenda up, baby. Did Bivol expose a weakness in Canelo Alvarez's game? We are talking about the big boys, 175-pound weight class. What do you think of that question, Harold?
Ironically, I've been watching that fight this past week just for fun. Bivol fight.
Okay.
And when you asked me to think about it, it was right down my alley. So I had been watching for anyway. I saw some basic things. I just saw Bivol able to stop that right hook by keeping that hand up the whole time.
Right.
That's what I saw. And then I saw that he consistently threw that jab and stepped in behind that jab. And while Canelo had good defensive skills and he could be flashy with them and really show his skill set at that, he had to do it too much.
Right.
He had to be on the defensive too much. He had to really concentrate on showing his defensive skills too much, where when he did try to be aggressive and score, that right hand was up. And every time the opportunity came for who's first,
right,
Bivol was always first.
Right. He was first, and he was longer, and he was further away, and he was straighter too. He was straighter with his punches. So, I mean, the question is, what did you see? What did you see in the fight that would give you the impression that Canelo is beatable, other than he was beatable?
Okay. Well, when he fights, they're going to go back to that same mode that they fought in.
Yeah.
Golovkin didn't see anything here that he's going to add.
Yeah, you mean Bivol. You mean Bivol.
Yeah. No. Gennady is fighting Canelo, right?
Right.
And we're talking about the Canelo Triple G fight, how that may match up at this time, correct?
Yes.
No. Yes, that's the premise. How did he look? Because he lost here, how he's going to approach this fight with Triple G. I'm saying Triple G is not going to take anything from this Bivol victory because that's a complete different thing, and Canelo was in a different posture. When he fights Triple G, they'll be back in the posture that they had where they had those great fights. Right. So I don't see any change or advantage that Triple G can pick up from Canelo's loss to Bivol. I just don't see it. They have their own chemistry. Whose chemistry in this third fight will prevail? That's what's going to happen. So Bivol, he didn't expose a weakness to me. He just applied certain principles that Canelo wasn't necessarily prepared for. Canelo was never hurt. He was never frustrated. He just was on the defensive a lot, and then when he tried to be offensive, he just was thwarted. So,
but Harold,
mentally, I don't think that's hard on Canelo. I don't think that's hard on Canelo at all. This is a whole different animal standing in with Triple G, and they're going to go back to their chemistry.
Right. So, okay. So here's some thoughts for you. I mean, when I look at the fight, if I'm training someone, if I'm training Golovkin to prepare for this fight, I'm thinking to myself, okay, let's go into the bag of tricks first of all, and let's go back and let's look and see how Bivol cracked the code of the Canelo Alvarez. I'm not saying that I'm going to be successful or anyone else is going to be successful. What I'm saying is that Bivol demonstrated the blueprint that's necessary to beat Canelo, to beat Canelo Alvarez. Now, whether you want to attribute it to weight or whatever you want to attribute to it, there was something to that win that if I'm Golovkin, right, who's 42-1 with one draw, 37 wins coming up by way of KO, versus 57-2 with two draws, 39 wins coming by way of KO for Canelo Alvarez. Canelo's been in there a lot, and we talked about this before, about the time and the age and how father time, waits for no man, like, time and tide wait for no man. So at the end of the day, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a blueprint here that was carved out by Demetrius Bivol, right? And basically, if Golovkin is smart, he'll pay close attention to that blueprint and perhaps execute all of it or some of it to try to finally beat Canelo Alvarez. Thoughts?
Okay, that's a good, valid side of it. And I see that and I respect that.
Right.
Triple G is going to be fighting a man who's going to be on par with him as far as weight is concerned. When he fought Bivol, he was outweighed desperately.
Right.
Secondly, when he fights Triple G again, Triple G is not going to attempt to apply that type of work because he did so before. He did the same thing. He came after him with the jab.
Yeah.
He was first. In certain spots, he was.
Right.
So that success that Bivol showed, Triple G knows that he can do the same thing. However, he's in a fight with a man who knows him also. They fought 2 or 3 times. So he just can't take that stance with him. He has to figure out how to win on his terms. He can do what Bivol tried to do, but he's staying against a man mentally who knows, I know you too.
Right.
So that's how I see that. And I contend that Canelo is still young.
Right. Well, no, and I get that. I get that we've had this discussion about age. I'm not talking about age. I'm talking about wear, right? Because you could have a car.
Yes, young and wear.
Yeah, because you could have a car that's, bright and shiny, but it's been, up and down 95, from here to California, 10 times this month. And then you could have a car that's 10 years older and has only driven that trip once. And so you got a situation there, right? I'm just saying it's worth looking at. But here's the other piece, Harold. Let me break this down for you and the listeners. Okay. So Bivol has some very specific things that he did in the fight when he fought Canelo Alvarez. And some of those things include, his yo-yoing, his moving inside and outside, kind of changing the distance when he was fighting Canelo. And that made it difficult for Canelo from the counterattack perspective, right? The other thing that he did is he used his counter punching. Bivol was throwing 3s and 4s. He was not throwing 1s and 2s, which a lot of the guys at Canelo fights like to throw 1 and 2s. He was throwing 3s and 4s. And what does that do? That slows you down. It makes it difficult for a counterpuncher like Canelo, who likes to throw those punches. So Canelo likes to throw punches after you throw 1 or 2. But if you come in with 3 or 4, that's going to slow down your output. It just does.
Force him to reset.
It just does. Yeah, it slows. And then that combined with the yo-yoing back and forth, changing distance and working from the outside with long shots really is a game plan. It's a serious game plan. And I thought,
a bigger man.
Yeah. And then Canelo, right? Like what Canelo likes to do is Canelo loves to counterpunch. He's a strong counterpuncher. That's one of his best skills. He's not afraid to walk forward and counterpunch you as you're trying to pick him off. But usually that's against fighters like what's the guy that he fought? Anyway, it slips my mind right now. But no, a long time ago he fought the European fighter, the bigger fighter. And it'll come to me. Don't worry about it. It's not really that material. But what's material is that Canelo's bread and butter is the counterpunching. Right. So how do you need
room to do that?
Yeah,
he needs room.
He needs room, but he also needs you to cooperate. He needs you to be there. Right. But Bivol wasn't there. Bivol was taking that step in, taking a step back. So he was playing around with his range in a way that I think if you wanted to study it properly, you could find some opportunities there. You could find a blueprint that could possibly work. I don't think Triple G, is going to like switch his fighting style at this point of his age, but I definitely think the counterpunching, neutralizing Canelo's counterpunching made a big difference in that fight. And let's see if, Triple G picked up on that. If him and his trainers picked up on that, if they're listening to the podcast, maybe we gave them a little insight into what they might be able to do to win. And I'm not at all throwing any shade on Canelo, because I know that Canelo knows this. He knows how he was beaten. He knows exactly what happened to him. He has to. And his team, they're phenomenal. So they know what happened, right? They're not in the dark about it. So anyway, I think that's going to be a very interesting thing, Harold. And I just thought I'd share that with you because that's what's up, man, right there.
I'm going to step off on that right there.
Why are you going to step off? Why are you going to step off?
Because your point is valid.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, good.
I can't add anything more to it than to be redundant, but
right.
I just see a different side of that. And,
yeah, for sure.
I mean, he just didn't allow him any room to get off.
Right.
You have to have room for a counterpuncher. He has the time you coming in and he retaliates. If you're constantly giving him work, and so he has to reset.
Yeah.
And like you said, he's stepping in and stepping out, stepping in. All those step ins and step out are filled with punches.
Right.
So you got the footwork coming in, and you got the constant jab or right hand or right hook constantly coming. So he couldn't reset. He couldn't find the rhythm to get off the counter punch. And then when he did, he rushed him across the ring, throwing the right hook, and it was all blocked every time. And then it went back to him being first again with the jab and all that.
Right.
So it was predictable what happened each time. The same thing, round after round. He's coming, he's blocking. He's coming, he's blocking. He's not effective. So it got to a point where you kind of knew what was going on. But Triple G has the capacity to do that.
Yeah,
as you said.
Yeah, no, man, you're absolutely right. And I cannot wait for this fight. We've talked about this fight for the last 3 podcasts, and we will continue to discuss it as we get closer and closer to the September dates, because I am, and at the end of the program, we'll list out the boxing schedule, the upcoming boxing schedule. We'll briefly share that with you guys. And, last but not least, we wanted to take a little bit of time to talk a little bit about Adrian Broner and his upcoming fight against Omar Figueroa, which it's not going to happen. The fight has been canceled. Ladies and gentlemen, Adrian Broner's fight has been canceled. And Harold, ready, 3, 2, 1, go. Tell us what's up.
Well, the fight is still going to go on. It's going to be Lipinets is going to get the opportunity to fight Figueroa. So when you turn your TV on, it's still going to be the fight there.
Right.
All the undercard is still in place, except for Figueroa is going to be fighting Lipinets, who just lost 2 fights, one to Boots and one to somebody else. Now, as far as Broner is concerned, the mental health situation is being acceptable now. You had Danny Garcia come out. You had all these other athletes coming out. You had different things coming out. As a boxer, as you know, you die in there, so you can't necessarily accept any kind of weakness. Okay,
right?
But because these fighters do go through that, and the way and the door has been open for fighters to actually come out and say that they're having their kind of issues and be acceptable and understand it. It was great. The Danny Garcia, he won. He looked great.
Right.
He said, I've had an issue. Ryan, he had an issue, came back and looked great. So this was an opportunity for other fighters to do that. Now, Broner, he has in the past he did a little thing where he threatened his own life a while back. You remember that?
Yeah.
And so we know that he has a possibility, a propensity to possibly have something that is probably behind him now, but he just wants to address it now. So that's fine. That's fine. He still will be able to sell. So because of that, some other major fighters have said they understand his plight, and they've had understandings of themselves. Yeah. And this was Tank Davis. Yeah. He said, "Hey, I understand. As a fighter myself, I have understand how that kind of thing can be effective." He didn't say I had an issue or whatever, but he came out and said, "I understand it because I have an understanding of it." And he and Ryan, have galvanized on that as saying, yeah, it is a viable thing. So it's good that the fighters are able to do it. Now, yes, he's going to get dragged because he got out to fight. Yeah. But if anyone has had any kind of mental thing going on, you're going to sympathize. If you haven't, and you're the casual public, or even the purists, it may be something that you struggle to understand.
Yeah, no. And like you said, mental illness, and we talked about this on the last podcast. Check it out, y'all. It's on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, you can tune in. You can get all of them. You can subscribe to all the episodes, and please give us a review. Hit the stars on there so that we get ranked higher in the podcast. If you like what you're listening to and you're enjoying our podcast, please make sure that you say so and let us know. So yeah, man, I definitely think when it comes to mental health, you don't want to be playing around with boxing when your mental health is not there. It's hard enough to be a fighter when your mental is correct. So when you're off and you're not mentally, right, and you need that time to whatever you need to get that right, you have to, so it's, I applaud Adrian Broner for doing that and for taking the time away. I know that it affects his pocket. I know that it affects the other, other fighters' pocket, the promoters' pockets. Everybody's money is messed up, when something like that happens. But I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is that, Adrian Broner's okay, and that he's able to kind of take care and address the mental health that he needs to provide to himself, because he has to take care of himself first before anybody else. And that's just what's so. And then, go ahead, Harold.
Go ahead. Figueroa doesn't have it good either. He's fighting a guy that could beat him.
Oh, man.
That's worse than Broner.
Well, let's break that down.
Lipinets can beat him worse than Broner can.
Yeah.
He's getting a harder fight.
Yeah, for sure.
He's not getting off on getting away. He's not.
No, it's not an easy fight.
He can suffer a loss right here.
Yep. No, Harold,
Lipinets can fight.
I agree with you 1,000%. And I will tell you, okay, so let's break this fight down, as I said before. So Omar Figueroa Jr. is 28-2 with one draw, right? Sergey Lipinets is 16-2 with one draw. This is going to be a great fight. They're both at the same age, well, roughly 30. Figueroa is 32 and Lipinets is 33. Okay, so it's going to be a very, very good fight. Lipinets, of course, in April of 2021, he was stopped. He was KO'd by Jaron Ennis, of course. That was a devastating loss for him. But and then, of course, Abel Ramos, I guess he stopped Omar Figueroa. It was an RTD, so... and he was also stopped by your Dennis Ugas back in September 7th of 2019. So he's had two losses back to back. So as you said, it's these guys are ready to go for it. I think they're fighting for the WBC silver super lightweight title. So it'll be a great fight. It's at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood. But that's happening in place of Adrian Broner, folks. In place of Adrian Broner. Lipinets steps up to the table, steps up to the plate. The Kazakhstanese fighter is going to be, he's going to have his hands full with Figueroa, who's definitely not going to want to give it up easily. And that should be a really good fight. But again, Adrian Broner won't be there. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me break it down for you. Omar wanted to fight Broner because he figured he could outwork Broner. Broner has a propensity to not work.
Right.
Okay. So if there's no knockout, it'll go the distance. The fans will get what they want. It'll go the distance. He'll win strictly on his activity. Broner will do his thing after the fight is over, saying what he's going to say, or Broner could look really good and win. So that was good. But now he's fighting Lipinets, who's active.
Right.
There's not going to be any gimmies where Broner may not do any work, but then the work he does can be effective and he wins, or it just makes for a good fight. But what I'm saying is Lipinets is going to be busy along with Omar.
Right.
Omar's thing is, I'm relentless. My brother's relentless. I'm relentless. But Lipinets is too. But Lipinets can hit too. So
yeah, he can.
It's a more dangerous fight because this man's going to be active. He's not going to allow. There won't be any opportunities for him just to outwork you. Lipinets doesn't fight like that. He's going to try to outwork you, but he will finish you.
Yeah.
In the process.
No. You're absolutely right, Harold.
Omar's been knocked out twice.
Twice?
Omar has lost to who?
Abel Ramos
Bud
and
Bud, both knockouts.
No, he lost to Ugas and Abel Ramos.
Knockouts.
Yeah, RTD and a unanimous decision. No, not knockouts. Lipinets was KO'd by Jaron Ennis. Yeah.
Okay. So the knockout, Omar's had how many knockouts by loss? 2, correct?
Yeah. He's lost twice, yes, by knockout.
So he's vulnerable.
No doubt. No doubt is he vulnerable. Yeah, I would agree with that, man. I definitely would agree with that, Harold. He's definitely vulnerable, man. So, hey, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to do is I am going to, let's see if I can find that other graphic. Where'd it go? There you go. Okay. Let's see what we got. So we got our little boxing schedule coming up. You can see, ladies and gentlemen, what's happening. You can see the fights that are coming up, and it is going to be a great couple of months of boxing for sure. Do you want to say anything about anything you see on the screen, Harold?
Well, the zone is hot. You've got the KSI thing going on, which is, in my humble opinion, it's not. It shouldn't be listed here.
Right. Okay.
At all.
That's promoted by the zone too, man. I mean,
the rest of it looks good as far as what's going on. So there should be something every weekend for us.
How about that
involved?
How about that Pedraza and Comey fight?
That's interesting. I don't feel any heat from that.
You don't?
No.
I like that fight. What about Shields and Marshall?
That's going to be a good fight. Marshall's bigger, and she's all knockouts, and Shields has to move and work.
Right.
And she has a mental advantage over Shields right now because she's the only one that's beat her.
Right. Well, we don't have to talk about the Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin on the zone September 17th because we already know that that's going to be an amazing fight. And then followed by that, the following weekend, we have an ESPN Plus event, Shakur Stevenson against Canseco, and that's on ESPN Plus September 23rd. That's going to be a really good fight too. There's a lot of good fights coming up, man. Jojo Diaz is back in the ring against Zepeda on the zone on November 5th at 9 p.m. So, yeah, man, we got a lot of good fights coming up. I really do hope that you guys, all you diehard boxing fans that are tuning into the Boxing Breakdown, will make it a point to catch these fights and also make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notifications below. Come on, Harold, work that left hand. Work your hand going down, right down there.
It's
right
there.
Right there, right where Harold, right where Harold's pointing. It's right over there where Harold's pointing, right down there. Hit the like and subscribe, y'all. Come on, man. So we know that, you're with us. You're on the podcast, and don't forget to leave your comments, right? You can join us live each week. We come live usually Wednesday or Monday. We're up here. We're throwing down, and the episode gets released on Thursday. So peace and love, everybody, man. I hope you guys had a great night with us on the Boxing Breakdown. And until next time, we'll catch you on the other side. Take care, Harold. Love you, man. Peace, brother.
See you when I see you.
Yes, yes, yes. Sure will.
Fight fans, join host Mark Roxey and special guests as they break down all aspects of the boxing world.
And Harold Hunt.
News, business, management, training, promotions, fan reactions, upcoming events, matchups, future boxing stars, title fights, state of the boxing world, and all the stuff you don't see when you watch boxing. This podcast is released each week on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live streamed on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook Live. It's the Boxing Breakdown, hosted by Mark Roxey.